hippos. What's up, Iceman? Do you want a quick guide on how to defend the 2 barracks bunker build? Because we just did it. Textbook. There's a word for it. There's a word for it. It's called crisp. Clean. Correct. Sturdy. Robust. What's up, Trey, dude? Vaughtail goes to and get Maples. Moss Neotech prototype. Who wants a quick masterclass on defending against that crap? Voluptuous. This has been a very sexual stream so far. Wrong adjective. What's the link to that guide? It's happening right now. Clinical. Clinical. Okay. Can we do a Bob Ross class? This will simply be an instructional video guiding you through the trial, the tribulation that is the Proxy double barracks. Proxy double barracks marine bunker. So the first cool step to put in front of yourself when you're faced with some special cheese is to identify the level of commitment and the purpose of the build. So this is a build, and like some other builds, it involves proxy structures. This one has 2 barracks. What are some other builds? Sometimes they make... Thank you. Sometimes they make 4 barracks instead of 2. The purpose of a 4 barracks build is to kill the opponent completely. It's fully committal. You can't afford other stuff. But with 2 barracks, you can afford to transition off the back of it. So there's a refinery here. There's going to be a depot wall off. And there's a follow-up. With this build, their basic goal is to kill your base, fly their barracks home, and play a macro game. That's the entire purpose. So what do? As the bugs. We send the first overlord. I like to keep it here because you can see units traveling on the shortest rush path toward you, and you can also retreat to this safe spot if a couple Marines shoot at you. So I see this with Francisco. My Francisco always goes to my 3rd base location and then goes across into the main. But this time I already found out what I need to know. It's 2 barracks. So I'm just going to put him in a safe spot somewhere away from this shenanigan stuff. So now I know it's cheese. I'm still taking my 19 Overlord. I want to be mindful of where this is going so it doesn't fly into these Marines and die. Small mistakes can cost you the game, especially when there are small numbers of units, like in the early game. So I'm going to stop droning here. I have 19 workers. The opponent has 17. So I'm trying to delay this, be annoying. So I bite the SCVs, but there's a Marine, so I'm going to pull back. You don't really need to pull workers here. So I'm making 2 queens and I'm making zerglings. Now this response is one that I learned from seeing Solar defend TY's Proxy 2 barracks Marine, so it's probably pretty good. And the key thing is you don't make an Overlord at this stage. Normally you would make around a 29 to a 31 Overlord, so you have some supply to move forward in the macro game. But we're presented with a bit of a problem here in the early game. So instead of getting an Overlord, which is a passive unit, it doesn't help you fight this. You're going to make Lings up to 34 supply. It's an important number. 34 supply. So I'm going to get Ling speed here and then pull fully off gas. I'm making Lings and I'm trying to rally them away from this so I can pool up some army value. So these 2 Lings survive, great. Making Lings up here, just trying to keep my units intact. My queens are cooking up. Ling speed is done and I'm off gas, so I have 19 on minerals. Trying to keep my Lings alive. With the 2 barracks, the Marines are pretty restricted to fighting from the bunkers. they can't go forward too much because they'll get surrounded by your lings and die. So they might pick up something if it's close to the bunkers, but they want that as a point of retreat. So my queen pops. This is a really important moment. The queen needs to move away from this. Injecting is not the goal here. If she injects, she'll die. So she gets pulled back. My lings are pulled here. And then now, the key moment, when you hit around this supply, 31 to 34 or so, you pull the drones. Not all of them. I think I pulled about 15 or so drones, maybe 14 or 15. The exact number doesn't matter, but having 4 to 5 that are mining in your main, but then pulling the rest of them, allows you to secure this expansion. So I'm pulling my drones down. I have my lings that have been mostly intact, and I have my queens. I want to represent all of that in the fight. Basically everything but around 4 drones. So my queens are here, my drones are going, and my lings are going. So what's going to happen is the drones and lings are going to fight. Let's be realistic here, we're not going to micro our drones perfectly, we're going to lose some. But the key thing is to eliminate this from the equation and then drone my 2 bases really fast. So the drones and lings are fighting. I'm just attack moving here. I think I did mineral walk a little bit, but the key thing is representing all this value at this time. So I'm pulling the drones back, pulling the drones back, and I lost 4 drones, but the opponent had 3 SCVs that were forward during this, so they're down to 14. So now we're playing a game that's 15 versus 15. Terran just made another worker. I was making lings through that so that I can deny this position from building up a marine count. So these lings are chasing these marines. They're going to eliminate these marines and force a liftoff and a fly home. So that's the next step that's coming. I also want to inject my bases during this process. Lings are fighting this. And notice that in all of this, it's not super fancy micro. It's more about representing the value that you have on the field at the most crucial location and at the proper time. So queens are injecting. And then the other thing that I ripped from Solar was going 2 base muta after this. And when I was analyzing the games, I was thinking about, why is 2 base muta a good choice here? Well, for one, you start out with kind of a low mineral count because you lost some drones, so we're recovering a little bit. Another one is, because we traded drones for more larvae, we have a second base earlier. You need 2 bases for 2 base muta. Another reason is, these 2 barracks can't research stim for a long time. They have to fly all the way back into the base and then land either onto add-ons or they have to make add-ons. So this is going to take a while. The main thing that counters 2 base muta is double barracks, double medivac, which they can't do in a reasonable time frame. So that's my rationale here for doing 2 base muta as opposed to a normal fast third build. With a fast third, you also open yourself up to stuff like Hellion drive-by and stuff. So this just keeps it really simple, and we're going to get value from the fact that we defended this base early. So I'll show you the gas timings and stuff. This goes into a 20-minute game, but basically once the 2 base muta is live on the map, that kind of represents, alright, we defended the 2 barracks, we went into a saturation amount that makes sense into a composition that makes sense. So I refilled this gas and took a second and third gas. I want to get my gases pretty fast, and my 4th gas. So I have 37 drones, 4 gases. I have 41 total if you count the drones that are being built. I want to go lair, and then I want to go for a spire as soon as my lair is done. It should be crisp and quick gas spending. And then the way that you anchor a 2 base muta build is with a spine. Spine you wouldn't really want to make if you're going queen heavy, but I'm queen light. I only have 1 queen per base. I'm not making additional ones because I'm really rushing out that drone count up to 45. 45 to 24. So my Ling scouted the Cyclone. The build that the Terran goes for isn't super important. for this particular demo. Mainly the idea is anchoring down your 2 bases with the setup that makes sense, that's solid, that allows you to defend that 2 base muta. I'm making lings once I have 2 base mineral saturation so I can bank up some gas. And then before the Spire is about to finish, I make a couple overlords. And then I make some mutas, defend this next shenanigan push, and then we're just super far ahead into the 3 base macro stage. So lings, and then mutas pop. Great, we kill it, and then we kind of slowly win the game. Cool.